Come along, children. Now we're going to have a little music.
This ain't funny, so don't you dare laugh.
Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to First Cut Live. This is your weekly show in a deep dive on all the big movie news coming out this week. We are here, as usual, on a Monday night, as we always do, because we are nice and consistent, as our girl Sabrina likes. But since I just mentioned her, let's bring up the crew. Starting first off with our unstoppable 7-footer, post-game on lock, never miss when there's time left on the clock. She is a master of the sky hook. Call her Steph Curry because she always cook. It's my girl, Steph. It's my girl, Sabrina. What's up, girl?
Or you could just introduce me as Steph Curry. Always
Curry,
love those
Steph,
intros. So happy to be here. Happy to hang out on this Monday with a very special guest.
Yeah, we do have our special guest, but before we get to her, we are introducing our MVP. Mid-range on lock, double-double with the blocks. He never miss, because the ball always goes swish. Taking over planets like the Creed, it's Mr. RB3. What's up, bro?
Hey. Thanks for having me. Wow, that was very punny. That was very nice. But of course, I'm not alone. And of course, you can see by my very awkward camera angle, because my mom is joining today. Hey. That's right.
Absolutely a pleasure to have you here. RB3, why don't you tell us what's going on today at the top of the show, man? Because you're pretty excited about this.
Yeah, so can y'all hear me okay, by the way?
Yes.
All right.
I just think I'm shitty, but you're good.
No, you're good. So yesterday, I got special tickets courtesy of Adam Tickets. I don't know what Adam was doing, giving out these tickets, but they had an early showings for the Aretha Franklin biopic, Respect. Which, I know my mom's a big fan of Aretha Franklin's music, and she actually, when she saw the trailer for this movie, she called me up immediately and she was like, I haven't been to the movies in a minute, but I'm super excited to see this, so we got to see this. So
excuse me, but I said you better take me to go see Aretha Franklin, and I need to see it as soon as it come out. Yeah. He had no choice in the matter.
Yeah, so had to make sure. And then when I got the early thing, I was like, oh, it's perfect Sunday plans for us to go. So we went. That is
so fun.
Yeah, it was really dope. We saw it at AMC Century City. Shout out to AMC Century City. And it was a nice theater. It was a good time. I mean, I thought it was a good biopic. If you see my thoughts on Twitter, retweet them or repost them on Instagram. Why not? I tagged Aretha Franklin's page and everything too, but nobody replied. But I think the more important thoughts here were my mom's. She could probably give a more valid opinion on this film than I could. So, Mom, take it away.
Well, it was real good. I'm a real big Aretha Franklin fan, and just to see Jennifer Hudson play an outstanding role as Aretha Franklin was excellent. I don't want to give out any spoilers, but you have to see it. It was beyond what I ever expected. I felt a little soul. I felt a little gospel. It was just, my emotions was all over the place at the movie theater.
Yeah, no. It was a good biopic. I feel like if you saw what's the one with Tina Turner? What's Love Got to Do with It? Yeah. Or if you've seen like a lot of these biopics, unfortunately it's a similar story with a lot of black female artists in this industry. It's really unfortunate, but Aretha dealt with a lot and she overcame a lot, so it was really, really powerful to see. But Mom, you also love Aretha Franklin's music too, right?
Oh, I love all her R&B soul music, but I'm a big fan of her gospel music. When Jennifer Hudson sung Amazing Grace, oh man, I just wanted to just get up and dance all over the theater. Literally. I felt it. It was just really, really good. And I never thought anyone could do it as good as Aretha Franklin, but Jennifer Hudson, she killed it. She killed it with Amazing Grace.
That's my next question to you guys is I'll ask both you, RB3, is Jennifer's performance. How was it? Did she live up to fill those enormous shoes of Aretha?
Ace is asking about Jennifer Hudson's performance. Unfortunately, my mom can't hear what's going on, so it's a little awkward. I mean, I thought Jennifer Hudson was definitely the standout. I mean, that's definitely the best part. She definitely carries it. There's a lot of things I didn't know about Aretha Franklin personally. A lot of demons she dealt with in her personal life, and just from the circumstances she had to overcome. And then I just had no idea about. And Jennifer Hudson plays that to a T. In fact, they actually showed us a clip. Jennifer Hudson was actually hand selected by Aretha Franklin before Aretha Franklin passed away to play her. So it was kind of like a match made in heaven, and it definitely worked out. I don't know what you thought, Mom.
Yes, I agree. I mean, I've been a Jennifer Hudson fan since American Idol, and what she brought to this movie was outstanding. I mean, I could go and see it again. And I'm not a go back and see movie person like my wonderful son here, but I will go back and see it again. Mind you, I haven't been to the movies in like 2 years. This is my first time in 2 years going to the movie theater just to see this. Yes.
Pre-pandemic.
Yes. Yes.
I just wanted to ask you one more thing, man, and I'll let you go. I always am bragging about the Gina Prince Bite the Wood commenting on about Love and Basketball.
My favorite. I don't know if Robert ever told you, but I have made him sit through Love and Basketball at least 20 times as a child. I must have watched it at least 100 times, and he might have sat through half of that with me. But I was excited. That she recognized that my son, how much I liked it and recognized me.
Man.
It really was, you could tell her that it's RB3. Like, it's one of our favorite moments, too. Just have her leave that comment and realize it's actually her. It's incredible.
Yeah. And calling out a point in the episode too. Like that means like she watched it and all of that, which is absolutely insane. It's so crazy.
Yeah. Now they're just saying, she actually watched the episode and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Nah, dope. Yeah. So thank you, Mom. Thank you for that wonderful review.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah. So appreciate it, Mom.
It's awesome.
Are you able to? Got it. All right. Cool. Woo!
That was so awesome. Man. Thank you, RB3.
Thank y'all for letting my moms hop on the channel real quick.
Yeah, man. I heard about this movie on the LA radio as I was driving around, and I completely forgot about it. But I heard about Jennifer Hudson, her performance. Obviously, she's got the vocals for it, so it's kind of a no-brainer on that sense. But the fact that Aretha picked her is kind of even more inspiring as well.
Yeah.
I'm curious how it's going to do for sure, man. Is it out officially now or is it coming out?
It comes out next weekend on this Friday. So if it's it's definitely something for the church folk, for the black folk. I mean, it's for everybody. Sure. Like it's really definitely if you're a Aretha Franklin fan, like it'll show you the stories that like inspired like those songs. So.
Yeah.
Only thing, I mean, I'm getting the criticisms out now because my mom's out. But the only thing that really wasn't good was Marlon Wayans as the Ted White. That wasn't good. I don't know what I didn't like that casting. That wasn't great. But otherwise,
it's really interesting. I'm looking forward to this one a lot. Do you think it's going to be kind of like in the talks, like with Jennifer Hudson's performance, awards wise, or like any like Oscar season, award season type of conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely for Jennifer Hudson's performance will definitely be like considered. I don't know, it's coming out a little early in the year, so still not 100% sure. But I also think costumes. I think costumes is going to be something that this will probably compete in very heavily too, because there's a lot of big costumes, bold costumes. But I think if anything, it's a good biopic. A lot of biopics, it's hard to really break the mold of biopics. And like I said, it's unfortunately a lot of the same kind of tragic stories that we see in these biopics. But Jennifer Hudson definitely shows out and shows up and pays great respect to the Aretha Franklin. So if there's a chance of her getting nominated just for that, like that's cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see it for sure. Speaking of gospel, let's talk about Donda.
Yeah, Donda, where you at?
Let's go.
Where you at, Donda? Hey, sorry, Sabrina. I'm so sorry. We gotta talk. Can we just get? We only need 5 minutes on Kanye. Just 5 minutes on Kanye.
5 minutes. I was gonna say 2 minutes, but
all right, two. We keep it to 2. I just gotta say this this is masterwork that Kanye West is giving us right now. I don't know why he's not dropping. He's pushing it back again and again and again. I had to bootleg it. I hate bootlegging records, especially when they're not finished. But dude, Kanye, put it out. This is your best thing you've done in like a long time. And for a while I wasn't a Kanye fan, but he won me back on this one. So. I gotta admit, I'm a little church boy in my heart of hearts. I used to go to church on Sundays, so hearing all these like gospel songs, I'm like, oh no, Kanye really
the gospel, the choir.
Oh man,
that choir is like when that choir is singing those joints, bro. I'm just like, those hooks.
The song at the end. There's the song at the end. No Child Left Behind, but I just call it this a Cardi song. When it's just the choir and it's like. He's done miracles on me.
Yeah,
I just every time just like
and
in
the
my
choir,
heart, I'm just like, oh gosh, stop.
You're like, yes, Lord, yes, Lord.
That's the very end too. You're just like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then the one joint.
What's the other one? We gonna make it. We gonna be okay. We gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, bro, we gonna be okay, bro.
The joint with the Weeknd.
I'm all crying and shit.
The joint with the Weeknd.
Oh, he has a song with the Weeknd.
Yeah. What's crazy about the Weeknd song is that he put out. This song has been in existence since like 2018. And it's the original version he actually put on his Instagram and it leaked. And it's a really terrible version of him singing like, you'll see this in 3D, all eyes on me. It's terrible. It sounds terrible when he's singing it. And I had the leaked version that came out like on my phone. I've been listening to it for years and it's terrible. But then he did the most genius thing ever. He took out his terrible singing, replaced it with the Weeknd. It sounds like the most angelic thing ever. And then he kicks it off with Lil Baby, which I'm already like, all right, Lil Baby, come on. I'm already predisposed to not like it. But Lil Baby smokes it. Lil Baby goes so hard on that track. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. That's all I gotta say.
Bro, I lost 20 followers last week. I texted you this, right?
Yeah.
You heard?
Yeah.
I lost like 20 followers last week.
Yeah.
As soon as, like, literally 5 minutes after I tweeted about Kanye.
Yeah. They hate it.
People were real mad at me. Again, you guys know my thoughts on everything, starting with MAGA. But it doesn't change my mind on his music. That's just me.
I just think he's an asshole. I just think he's a huge asshole. That's why I don't listen to his music.
He's
Definitely.
definitely an asshole, but I just...
Homecoming to me and like 808s and Heartbreak and all that, like those are all so goddamn good. Like Homecoming is a fire song. Like still to this day, it is so good.
Graduation, the whole album is perfect.
Yeah, the whole album.
Late Registration.
Yeah,
I think all his albums are great. If I'm being honest, I don't think I dislike one. I dislike a lot of songs from several, but definitely I don't think I hate any. I haven't
liked any of his recent stuff, honestly. It's honestly, not even like besides that, but
I've talked about it before with you, RB3, like back when we met each other, right? Like I grew up on Kanye, like literally grew up. I went to high school listening to freaking College Dropout. That was like my first introduction to want to be into hip hop and want to be a hip hop artist was Kanye. So he just means like a little bit too much to me when it comes to like his music. So I'm just like, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not listening to R. Kelly, y'all. Like, chill. You don't have to unfollow me.
People, I know, for real.
Like, people are like, fuck you.
Like, it's the
I'm going to
worst.
unfollow you. And I'm like, well, I didn't say, like, hashtag
even
MAGA.
Even without that, this is going to be the last thing I say, and I can't speak on this because I haven't heard the album. But, like, I don't even like Taylor Swift that much. Like, I think she has, like, some good songs. But, like, that whole thing... And then like I made the bitch famous, and then there's like a naked Taylor Swift in that one music video. It's just like it's a little too much, like a little too much misogyny for me. So it's just a little.
He's a troll.
Kind of. Yeah. So I don't know.
But I'm telling you, he's repentant, Sabrina. It's different now. Like,
low-key,
it is so different. It's so different. I believe him. I don't know. Maybe I'm sold. Maybe I'm drinking.
He's made miracles on me, bro.
I know.
I'll listen to it.
I'll
listen to it. I genuinely haven't liked a lot of his stuff recently, only because I just haven't liked it. So it's not because I'm like judging him. I still do think he's kind of.
I was there, RB3. I think I told you this, right? So 4 years ago, my roommate was right there. We went to a hip hop. We went to a hip hop festival. What do you say?
Kanye on First Cut when?
Right, come on.
Yeah.
I do.
That'd be dope. I I went to a hip hop festival, and the headliner was Chance the Rapper, back when Chance was like in his prime, with the freaking, what are you laughing at, bro? Why are you laughing, man?
Did you see
Why
that
you
clip of
laughing?
Kanye yelling at Chance? Did you see?
Oh,
Kanye
I did. That was
yelling at
awesome.
Chance?
That was a while ago, though. That was like 5 months ago. That was funny.
That was amazing. That was the best clip.
Anyway, Kanye came out, and it was like the coolest thing ever. I forgot what song it was, but then I remember. Speaking of what you were saying, Sabrina, it was right when Life of Pablo came out, and his first song. I forgot what the song is called. Help me out, RB3.
Oh, Ultralight Beam. Ultralight Beam.
No, it was Ultralight Beam. He did do that one too, but it was dope as hell.
Father Stretch My Hand, Part 1.
Oh shit, it was Ultralight Beam. Yes. As soon as that shit kicked in, bro, lost it.
Yeah.
Tripped balls.
Yeah.
Literally. I was just going nuts. Like everyone was just like freaking losing their minds. It was awesome. I just had a blast. Anyways, back to our weekends, specifically you, Sabrina, since we were talking a lot about Ye and other movies. I want to hear about your weekend, girl.
Just watched a lot of movies. I am currently, I was sick, so I was at the doctor's yesterday, still dealing with all that kind of stuff. But I mean, since I was like couch ridden for like 24 hours, I got to watch a lot of movies. I rewatched some that we're actually going to talk about in our next Meaning Of episode that I was pleasantly surprised with my change of reaction with them. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with like just like more context. I think it's, I'll say which one it is. It's Birds of Prey. We have a Birds of Prey review. We're going to be talking about Birds of Prey coming up shortly for our next the Meaning Of episode. But revisiting it, I just had a different outlook. I think it aged really, really well and it sat better with me. So that was a nice, pleasant surprise to have last night.
Yeah, I also think like moods change, right? I feel like moods can be a really hard factor when, especially expectations going into a movie. So when you're like watching it at home and it's like your second watch, and you kind of like drop your expectations a little bit, you might be like, oh, that was actually pretty good. I actually had fun, versus like sitting in a theater and waiting for something. So that's kind of cool, Sabrina. I definitely want to hear your thoughts on that for sure later on. What about you, RB3? What was your weekend like, bro?
I saw Respect. I listened to Donda all weekend. So it's been a very gospel heavy weekend for sure.
What'd you think of my response? I've been wanting to tweet that forever, but I just replied to you.
Well,
where I was like, Donde está Donda?
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, Suicide Squad, obviously. And then
Suicide Squad.
I went to the little Van Gogh joint that they had in LA.
I saw your story.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool, man. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I feel like it probably would have been better if I was like on edibles or mushrooms or something, but I don't do drugs, so
it looked cool, man. It looked cool. I think it'll.
I have tickets for November.
Trip you enough, really.
So yeah,
I
got those like forever ago. It's been a long time.
Hit up Dorian, get some of his goods, and you might.
Oh, is that where you guys got it?
Well, no. I mean, I'm talking about yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about tickets. I was like, Dorian's always got the hookups.
Dorian's
y'all going to
hooked up with the
Maxim
Van
parties
Gogh
and
exhibit.
shit? What a weekend, man. What an interesting weekend for sure. So over the weekend, guys, in case you guys were sleeping under a rock.
Ace, what'd you do this weekend?
I saw the Suicide Squad. I saw my family, my other family.
Hey.
My LA fan. And then, which I do have an LA fan. And then I saw the Suicide Squad again.
Oh, twice.
And again.
Oh, 3 times. Wow.
I think I saw it 3 times.
Whoa.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, exactly. That's what happened in the movie. Lots of those.
Did you do an HBO Max or a theater?
HBO Max, man.
Me too.
HBO Max.
Yeah.
And I can't lie. Part of me was, after my first viewing and just really sitting on it, I mean, we'll get to my review. I kind of wished I saw it in a theater, but that's just.
Well, yeah. I wish I saw any movie in a theater that I watch at home for sure.
But first time watch, I mean. Like second time, like kind of like I did with Black Widow. Remember I told you guys where I was like, I'll watch it in theater and then I can just watch it at home anytime, afterwards, which is what I did. Which in this one I did in reverse, where I'm just like, I saw it at home and I kind of want to see it in the theater.
I saw
it's
it in
kind of too
theater
late for that.
First
Yeah.
time.
But over the weekend, the movie did 27 mil opening weekend, which is pretty low considering what Space Jam did, and also considering what previous movies have done before through the HBO model. I believe Godzilla vs. Kong was another one. But to be honest, guys, I have been talking about this forever. We've been talking about this forever, guys, as far as why would people go risk to a movie theater, pay $20, get in their damn car and drive and find parking to see a movie when they can see it at home at no extra. Like, to me, it's just so baffling that people are like, why didn't people see it in the theater? I don't know, maybe because you can see it on HBO Max and there's a virus going on and people are still afraid of COVID. Maybe that's why. Like, to me, it's just a no-brainer.
But I feel like HBO Max definitely did like jump the gun. Like, they were a little too quick to say like, okay, any release that we have going forward is also going to be a dual release with HBO Max. I like that it's an option, but I just think they went too quick, too fast. And for some of these movies, maybe it should only be available in a theater for a certain window. And I know they just had a deal that just happened that we're probably going to talk about, but it just doesn't really make sense to me. I saw it personally at home because I've been like really, really busy. And so it's easier than, like you said, driving out, finding the parking, just doing that whole thing to go see a movie when I could just click a button, be in my pajamas and sit on the couch and watch it. So I was disappointed. I was kind of in the same place as you where I would have liked to see it in a theater. I just knew I didn't have any time this weekend. So that's the thing.
Yeah. I just feel like there's been a lot of headlines, a lot of articles being written, Deadline, Variety, Hollywood Reporter, all these major news outlets that are supposed to be the most elite Hollywood websites on the planet, and they can't figure out that people don't want to pay money for something that they can get at home. Like, to me, it's just a no-brainer, man. Like, if a movie on Netflix comes out and then, you know, you put it worldwide on Netflix or nationwide on Netflix, are most people gonna pay money to see it? No, it's on freaking Netflix. And I talked to my brother who you know is a casual moviegoer, and I'm like telling my brother about A Quiet Place 2 when we saw it, which was my first theater experience going back after COVID. And I asked him, I said, you know, like, would we see A Quiet Place 2? Because he wanted to see it. He's like, oh, you want to see it? I kind of want to see this movie. It's dope. And I'm like, yeah, I want to see it. But if it was on Netflix, would we pay money to go see it? No. He straight up said, no. Why would I do that? We can just watch it right here. Here, it's on Netflix. Let's just watch it. Sit down. Here, have a drink. Like, it's literally like the most no-brainer thing ever. So now that it's on HBO Max, it's another streaming service, and I get it. You still have to pay for HBO Max, but there's no extra charge. Disney charges you $30 extra to see their movies, and on top of what you're already paying for Disney Plus subscribers. So it's obvious most people are going to choose free over not free when it comes to paying extra, or when it comes to getting in your car and driving. Like, it's just no brainer. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I mean, this is, I feel like I'm going to keep beating the dead horse because it keeps saying the same thing over and over again. But yeah, I never liked the model. I didn't think it was a good idea. And, you know, it definitely hurts. But frankly, at this point, you just got to live with what you got to live with. I think with the conditions getting back to where they're at, we're seeing cases back at the same numbers that we were seeing them last year. Yeah, it makes sense that, all right, this one should be a co-release. Like, I think at this point, that's where I kind of felt like during this, when this whole thing broke out, like, it shouldn't be everything blanket. It should be the conditions. It should be, let's have theaters as the default, and then let's use the streaming as like an optional thing, you know, like for when things get bad. And things are bad right now. So I don't blame people for not wanting to go out to the theaters, because it's scary, especially, you know, now people who are vaccinated, and the very small number of people who are vaccinated are actually getting it. Very small number, but you know, it is scary. And you know, you could be vaccinated and you could end up carrying it to somebody unintentionally. And these are all just conditions. Now we're at a point back at the beginning of the pandemic where we just didn't know as much as we knew now. Like, or we're just not knowing. We're just not informed. We just are a little clueless and don't know. So it does lead to fear. It does lead to people not wanting to go out. At the same time, though, you know, like, I definitely, for this movie in particular, this movie in particular sucks that it didn't do well because it is really, really good. And it actually, you know, I think good movies deserve to make money. And, you know, obviously that's what people and critics and things and journalists think too. But I think you're right. There is this little bit of a sensationalism happening in this industry. I think partially because a lot of these publications are in Hollywood. And while LA and California is a little bit more like, you know, strict with the mask restrictions and all this stuff, like Hollywood's still open, Hollywood's still going, and it's not stopping anytime soon. So in their minds, they think the pandemic is over and things should be making back to 60, 70, 80 million dollars, but it's not. Frankly, the pandemic's not over. It's almost worse. You look at the numbers in Florida right now, like you literally Google Florida numbers, like Florida COVID numbers, it's in the 20,000s, like 20,000 new cases a day. That's what we're talking about. Like it's a different conversation now, you know?
It's not far from over, but at the same time too, just this film in particular, do casual movie-going audiences really care about this movie? Because we had Suicide Squad, and now the only difference between that one and this one is the. So that movie wasn't great, wasn't well received. Do they know that this is basically like kind of a complete pivot? Maybe not. Maybe they see a trailer and they're like, okay, this is more of the same. We don't really care to check it out. So maybe good word of mouth or something like that can kind of help its decline. Because I kind of mentioned earlier about how we're going to see steep drop-offs because not only do some people not even want to take that risk in the first place, a lot of people definitely don't want to take the risk to go out in a theater twice to see the same movie. We used to have repeat viewings. That was something that could keep a film afloat for a while. That's virtually gone at this point, especially with the HBO Max model, especially just having it readily available. So I think it's a mix of a lot of different things, but hopefully, because like RB3 said, I know we're going to get to our review, but this movie is actually good and entertaining and steps above of like the last film. Yeah. But if I called my sister or I called one of my friends or whatever that have seen those, that have seen Birds of Prey, that have seen all the other ones, and I was just like, oh, you want to check this out? They probably would have no idea. Just like the name James Gunn won't get them excited because they don't know who James Gunn is. They've seen his movies, but they don't know, and they're not aware of that. They don't know that it's a pivot. I feel like this is one of those things that a conversation might keep this film afloat, but I wouldn't have expected it to go crazy at the box office. For many different reasons, not just COVID.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you know what, and that's something. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Ace, but you know, I did say during when Birds of Prey came out, like early 2020, I did say that Suicide Squad hurt that movie's performance a little bit, and I should have had that same mentality going into this one, especially since it was the exact same title, right? Like people directly associated with the first one. I thought it would be a little bit different because I thought they did emphasize like the James Gunn thing a lot, and I guess in our little Twitter movie sphere, like his name means a whole lot to a lot of people. But I guess in the real world, it kind of doesn't. And maybe it should because he makes good movies or whatever. But,
my sister loves Guardians of the Galaxy, but she doesn't know who the hell James Gunn is. And so him taking this on, it wouldn't like interest her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also feel like there's going to have to be, and I think we're going to start to have it now. I think we should start to have it now. A conversation surrounding box office and the importance of box office, because we've overemphasized it for the past 40 years in cinema, starting with Jaws, 30 years in cinema, Jaws 40 years.
That's like
45 years. Like Jaws was like the first thing that was considered a blockbuster, right? And then obviously Star Wars came out and did its thing, and studios started to say, hey, if we invest an extra 100 mil, we'll get an extra bill, like $1 billion, right? Where they started to realize if we invest a shit ton of money, then we can make a good return if it's a good property and a good director. George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, and then eventually we get to like Nolan's and all these other people who are considered like, budget limitless kind of guys who just want to make the biggest scope movies ever. And there's not necessarily any limit to it because they can afford it. And studios are happy to do that because they get a huge profit in return. Now, because of COVID, because of all these issues coming together, and obviously because of the HBO Max thing that I keep emphasizing, I feel like we're going to have to start to get to a conversation now where it should be based more on quality, and obviously the measurement of quality is always going to be a debate, right? Like, what is quality? Because people are always going to be like, well, it didn't resonate with general audience, therefore, it's not good quality because it didn't make a lot of money, because it didn't get a big scope audience, and that's what we paid a lot of money for. And it's like, maybe that's not necessarily the case. Maybe we should say circumstances should matter, theater habits should matter, and COVID and HBO Max really should matter. And if that's the case, Warner Brothers should be happy as hell, and they should say, hey, we don't care if it didn't make that much money. We're happy because it's a good ass movie. People enjoyed it. And if there was no COVID, we can probably claim that it would make a lot of money. And they are the only ones who know how many people saw it on HBO Max. They are the only ones. Like, we don't know, and they're not going to share that information. So I just think it's one of those things where it used to be like, oh, if the movie didn't make money, it's not going to be a sequel. Or we're not going to make movies like these anymore. No more R-rated movies. No more, Latin movies. No more blah, blah, blah movies.
There's a lot going against this, like, this particular one. And obviously, like, at the end of the day, it is a business, and it does make sense where if something's not working, fix it. But they don't think about it that way. They think, oh, pump more money into it. Let's do these reshoots. Let's do this. And then the movie ends up being worse than originally maybe they thought it was. It just doesn't really make sense, where I think it's at the core of it, the DCEU has basically not done a good job of building the cinematic universe literally from the beginning. They wanted to skip everything that like Marvel did. And I know I've talked about it before, but like, they didn't do like origin stories necessarily. They didn't have any stakes for you to like really care about these characters. They just toss them in because they're like, oh, Batman. Oh, this, that. And then they bunch it all together and rush to a Justice League movie. But nobody cares about the Justice League movie if you don't make them care about the characters. Just because Justice League is a big name in comics and in action figures and cartoons and things like that doesn't mean people necessarily are going to go run out to see this. So they've kind of been like shooting themselves in the foot for a very long time. And this is definitely a pivot. It is. And this is like a pivot from that, because for the first time, they're like, hey, here's a filmmaker. Let's give him his money. Let's give him free reign to do what he wants. But the only reason they did that is because it's James Gunn. And they basically were trying to kind of rip off some of what Guardians of the Galaxy did in the first place in the 2016 Suicide Squad with the music and everything. Yeah. That's what they're trying to do. So they're like, oh, we're getting the guy who did all of that to do this movie. So let's let him do whatever he wants. But when it's like a smaller creator, even like a Kathy Yan or someone else, they don't give them as much freedom. And so if your creators and the people behind the movie aren't given that and they have to follow by your specific rules, then it's going to end up being a chaotic mess mixed in with what they want, what you want. It's going to be totally incoherent. That's just the reality of what it is when you have a studio meddling with a film.
And this is what they do. This is, I mean, I've you know me, RB3, we talked about this for years, right? Literally since the conception of this channel and this podcast. Like, I've been on a DC, because I'm a DC guy, right? And I consider myself like a DC like historian, because I followed the DCEU since its conception. And I did this huge thing on no one ever remembers this, but I did this huge like speech on movie fights years ago, where I talked about, if you look at the pattern between what movies made money and what movies didn't make money, all the movies that had actual creative input from the director made money, and all the movies that felt very like studio cutty what made no money. And that was like, I kept saying, like, look at Man of Steel, look at BBS, look at the increase between those two movies. Opening weekend of Man of Steel was 112 million. Opening weekend of BBS was 168 million, basically 170 mil. And that was Zack Snyder doing his shit, doing his thing. And then as soon as, Justice League was like completely shit on, it made like not even 100 mil, it made like 94 mil, I believe, or 93. And it showed that fans know that you meddled with this creator's movie. And the more creativity you give him, Aquaman is another example of a movie that made a shit ton of money. And it was James Wan doing his shit, and it was a funny, cool movie. And it's one of those things where Warner Brothers keeps doing this, and I think they did it this year too, and I know you guys don't agree with me, on certain movies that have come out this year that I thought were not good, and it felt like a studio cut and just cut by a trailer guy. But I feel like, yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
But the guy who says Space Jam is good.
No, I didn't say it was good. I said it was for kids. I said it was for 7-year-olds.
You're talking about other stuff.
No, but I'm saying like there should be Warner Brothers should say, what do we want? Like, do we want to create the kind of movies that live on, or do we want to create the kind of movies that we could say, see, look, you know, it's dumb and stupid, but it made a lot of money. And it's like, yeah, but what's the point? It doesn't live on.
They
like,
only care about money. They don't care about, well, in certain situations.
But they make more money.
You're talking about like Aquaman and stuff. James Wan was already very established as well. But then you have like a David Ayer who didn't have.
They shit on Zack though. They shit on Zack Snyder though. I know, I saw that.
Yeah.
It was, Batman. Is that Batman?
Yes.
It's Bruce Wayne. That's the thing. Like, so when they have these established people, they might let them, and we don't know what happens behind the scenes exactly ever, but they give them a little bit more free reign to do this. Again, Suicide Squad was trying to rip off everything Guardians of the Galaxy did, and they did Ayer dirty. They did. I'm not like a release the Ayer cut person or anything like that ever, but when you hire a filmmaker, you should be aware of their particular vision. It's so crazy that they're like, hey, you have 6 months to write, or 6 weeks to write this script. Now do it. Put all these characters, do all these things, and then not like their particular vision of the story. Like, look at like what Taika did with Thor. It is so different to what we've seen from the character before. It resonated with a lot of people. It worked very well. And Marvel has that brand. We also criticize it at some points of like a little bit of the goofier, a little bit of this. DC never created their own brand of what they wanted because they started off with something, pivoted again. Every movie's different and they just don't feel together or coherent. And I think that they have to do a lot of like working around that. So James Gunn was able to introduce something that has the elements of something that they needed, making it like endlessly rewatchable and really, really fun. But at the same time, being serious and having emotional depth and also stakes, because again, it's like their superhero fatigue is very real. And I feel like general audiences feel that when we get excited when we have like 5 releasing in a year. But that's a lot. That's quite a bit of superhero movies to constantly have to think about. A lot of my friends don't even know what's DC and what's Marvel. They don't know. So when DC doesn't create their own brand and doesn't specifically have their voice, people are always just going to like mix up the two together, think like Shazam's a part of Marvel because it's more fun or whatever. It's definitely a lot, and it's a lot of conversation business-wise and creative-wise. If you want to have a movie that like is successful and lives on and people continuously want to see, make something that's good.
But that's my thing. Business-wise, I feel like people need to realize this is COVID. This is released on HBO Max at no extra charge.
Business-wise,
this doesn't make sense to compare this to other things. I guarantee this movie would have made at least some money. I'm not saying it would have been like 140 mil opening weekend or something, but it would have made money if this, you know, entire thing didn't exist, if this whole system didn't exist. Even if it just wasn't on HBO Max, I think it would have made significantly more money. And if it was exclusively in theaters, I think it would have made more money. Not necessarily a lot, because there's still fear of COVID, there's still the R rating, there's still certain factors, but I just feel like putting this up and comparing it to like, well, Wonder Woman made, I'm like, bro, Wonder Woman came out
different.
in 2018.
It's like, just for headlines and it's just for clicks.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like, that's
the thing. Business is when Ace is going to learn to stop trash talking the movie that put money in our pockets. Come on, Ace. Come on, dog. Don't you realize they're still listening? By the way, if you want to support,
I'm allowed to dislike a movie, bro. I'm never gonna.
Yeah, just because they lined
up. I'm a real one, bro. I ain't do that shit.
Bro. They lined our pockets. We gotta keep
I don't sell out for nobody, bro.
We gotta keep it real with the movie.
We sell out, but keep it real at the same time.
I don't sell out for nobody.
But we're not gonna lie.
Nah, I'm
a shit on anything, bro.
Nah,
well, same. I didn't even like Birds of Prey, and I think a lot of the reason why I didn't like it is because
I didn't like it either.
All of this, like genuinely, like everything DC has done just stresses me out so much. there's a lot that we're going to talk about in our upcoming meeting up episode. I will say.
I
think,
feel like, go ahead.
I haven't said anything in like 10 minutes, doggone it.
No, I said go ahead.
I'm kidding. So kidding. I do think though, even you're right. What's interesting about David Ayer too, is that he has a relationship with Warner Brothers that dates all the way back to like 2001 with Training Day. I mean, he's notoriously said that he was the only one who like wrote the whole screenplay for Training Day, which is like completely rare, especially in Hollywood, a bunch of rewriters and all that stuff. And they still treated him like that. So even with established filmmakers, even with that, it's a little tricky. But I guess he wasn't as established as a director. But I say all of that to say, even with that, I know there's people talk about an Ayer cut, all this stuff. I personally, people who watched the Schmoes No Show back in the day know my thoughts on Suicide Squad. Think it's one of the worst movies like we've ever seen, especially probably the worst we've seen in the modern era, especially in the superhero comic book world. And I think, and I do think, I brought the Blu-ray for it because they said there was an extended edition on there. Like they said there was an extended cut on there. So you had the opportunity to give me the cut already. I saw the extended cut. The extended cut was worse. It was 26 or 22 extra minutes of worse stuff. So, and I think, to me personally, if there's an Ayer cut, wherever Ayer cut exists, you can't edit around bad acting. You can't edit around bad writing. You can't edit around bad camera placement. I think you could probably like look at Suicide Squad from almost every element and criticize it for something different. So, I mean, I do think I think there's probably something there where it's a little more like tonally cohesive, where it's like shot darkly and there was maybe some dark music to it too, so maybe that feels right, but I don't think there's anything good underneath that surface. That being said though, I personally think the trilogy of the first Suicide Squad to Birds of Prey to this movie, I think is a pretty good like trilogy for like the Harley Quinn character. I like that evolution that we see like across those three movies.
Do you think this affected the 2016 Suicide Squad, like affected how people kind of saw this film? Because I know,
think so personally.
Yeah,
I think so because I think people see it. I personally think it affected.
See it or like went into it, like decided to go into.
No,
it.
I don't think people saw. I think people see the title, The Suicide Squad. They think it's almost the same thing. It's Rick Flag in the trailers, Margot Robbie in the trailers, and then it looks like they just replaced Will Smith for Idris Elba. Like it literally just looks like the same movie, just again, but a little quirkier and a little like R-rated this time. Where like the first one should have been R-rated. It's a crime that the first movie wasn't R-rated. Like that would have that. I think a lot of people just looking at the trailer and looking at what it is, like they probably don't notice it. They don't really want it. They have such a negative association with it. Plus, frankly, it's been so long since Suicide Squad too. Like it's been like 2016. I mean, obviously we had Birds of Prey in 2020, but obviously that show, the appetite wasn't like as there for it. So I don't know. I think personally it affected it, but I don't know.
Yeah. Do we want to get into the actual movie, or do we want to leave that for another episode or something? I wasn't sure. We should. My bad. Alrighty. Let's get into it, man. Who wants to go first?
Okay, well, I guess I'll go. I dug it, man. I dug it. I'm. What you gotta say, Andres? You gotta say.
It's your turn, bro. What do you mean? It's not my turn.
Okay. My turn. I'll be quick with it. Listen, I obviously come in with a lot of heat, a lot of energy towards James Gunn and towards obviously things of that nature in this business. I don't need to rehash my positions 100 times. That being said, though, I was excited for this movie just frankly because the promise is of a 1970s inspired it's like 1970s war film meets like the superhero genre, right? That's what they kind of talked about, I think at a Comic-Con a couple years ago or something like that.
DC fandom. And then, the trailers and all the marketing makes it look very much akin to like Inglourious Basterds, which is a movie I love the first 2/3 of. I think the first 2/3 is like almost a perfect movie. And this feels like right in line with that. It literally feels like the most ragtag adventure team
that you could see. I mean, obviously we knew what the expectations were. We were gonna see a lot of these characters get killed off, like, and we're getting spoilers, people, by the way.
Yeah,
I know a lot of side characters that we saw from the beginning. We knew they were gonna die off. The characters that we were left with in that crew were just really fun, really entertaining, and I personally really felt the chemistry and connection between them grow as the thing goes, which makes even some of their deaths even more like unfortunate. So I think it's really, really good. I really, really dug it. I think it's really solid. So
Sabrina, let us know.
I am in the same place as RB3, where I think it's super solid. I genuinely think it's my favorite DCEU film by like miles. I am not a fan of a lot of them. I'm very mid. Even like the good ones are very mid, and I'm like, they're fine, but I'm never even going to rewatch them unless I have to for some reason. But yeah, this one was a lot of fun. I think James Gunn was able to like invigorate it with a lot of energy. I feel like the last film, it was characters, it was explaining their backstory for some reason, and then we go into the situation, whereas this one was so much faster paced in that way. And it's like, yeah, this is this person, he eats children, blah, blah, blah. Because the last one, they felt like more anti-heroes. This one, they felt like straight up villains. They're like, I loved Weasel. And they're like, Weasel ate a bunch of kids. And I'm like, that's bad, but I love him. I don't care. And they have to have trust in their audience. And it feels like in this film, they finally did. It was a ton of fun. I mean, spoiler, but like, I knew Pete Davidson was going to die early. I did not know he's going to be the first one.
First one. I thought of you, Sabrina. I literally thought of you. I was like, Sabrina.
But I absolutely love, we had that idea everyone's kind of talked about for a while. It's Suicide Squad. You're going to have a ton of people that are dying and putting their life on the line. It makes so much sense because in the last film, we didn't get those stakes. And then this one immediately right off the bat kills some people that I was very excited to see. Savant was another one. I thought he was going to survive at the end of this. Yeah. So it's just really interesting, this approach to the story, what they were able to do with the characters and tackle all these different ideas. Ratcatcher 2. Holy crap. She was so incredible. And I loved her backstory. And I just loved how chill she was. And they didn't go just like crazy, like superficially emotion or whatever. It was like, it was there and it was real. And I think people are going to connect with a lot of that stuff a lot better than some of the ways that it's presented in other comic book films. Having this like ragtag team up of the villains, I thought was so interesting. The only thing, my biggest issue, which is like not even, because it was still really, really well. I'm so sick of superhero movies being like the entire world is going to go away, because wouldn't they call somebody better than the Suicide Squad? Like they have decent powers. I'm just so sick of like being from the.
Yeah, you're right. But I'm saying technically the whole scene was like, yeah, let it burn, because they didn't care about the Porto Maltese.
Well, exactly. But it also said like, into the wrong hand. I really did like the aspect of like having like the US and John Cena's character, everything with that. It was subvertive in like a really, really good way with some of the characters. And John Cena was one. And I thought he was going to die in this one because they do have that Peacemaker series that they want to do. It was really fun. It was really good. And when they used the characters, that's, I think, like in a way that was very, very effective, because it's disappointing, but you understand, because that's the whole point of this mission.
Yeah. Okay. It's my turn, y'all. I went into this movie kind of like RB3, not kind of like RB3, probably even stronger. RB3, I put on my hater glasses, bro. I straight up had them on. I was ready. I was like, I'm gonna hate this movie. Watch me trash it. I just wasn't excited for it. Remember I told you guys, like we talked about it on several First Cut Lives, I wasn't excited for it. I didn't like the reviews. All the reviews were like, it's gory, stupid fun. And I'm like, that sounds terrible. Like, that doesn't mean it's good. And then other reviews were like, it's gory and crazy. And I'm like, so? Like, I just didn't feel like gore makes a movie good. And I still don't think that. And then I saw the movie. Damn, I disagree with all you guys. It's not solid. It's not good. It's incredible. It might be my favorite of the year. I love this movie wholeheartedly, unabashedly, emphatically. unironically, I was blown away. I really was blown away like by the end of it, right? At first act, I was like, I was all right. I wasn't that blown away by the first act and everyone died. Second act, I was like, you're losing me a little because it's still getting a little kind of muddy, the message, I felt. And then by the end, I was like, oh man, there's just so many layers to this. There's still the comedy, there's still the humor, there's still the visuals, there's the score, there's a commentary on like American involvement in war crimes. There's commentary on nature. I love that commentary on nature with Ratcatcher and with Starro or Starfish. And I just felt like it just was a layered, complex, interesting, fun adventure movie that literally reminded me of my favorite MCU movie. And I was like, oh shit, you're doing it again, bro. It kind of gave me that feeling I had when I first saw Guardians of the Galaxy in theater. When I walked out of Guardians, I was like, oh fuck, that might be my favorite superhero movie or one of my favorite superhero movies ever. And it was one of my favorite. It still is. I rank Guardians number one. We did this before, and I put it as my number one. And I love this movie, y'all. I unabashedly thought it was so creative with the way it does give you the action and the violence, but also has just a clever ways to drop little hints of heart, not too much to where it makes it cheesy, but just little hints. And then by the end, with Ratcatcher, I was like, damn, I love Ratcatcher. She's so, you know what I loved about her? That she was genuine, right? She was very, she was very empathetic. She had empathy is what she had. And I love that because you don't really see that in kind of any kind of characters, the characters that are like really caring and loving and almost caretakers, like she was with King Shark, with Bloodsport. Blew my mind. I was like, shit, I should have seen this in a theater. Damn.
I was in the same boat, like I said. And I love that you mentioned that about Ratcatcher, because not only do we see this and it's not cheesy, it like toes the perfect line tonally of like feeling very genuine and sincere. But we don't ever see that with like a villain either. Like we might understand some of their points, but like all these people are supposed to be villains, and she's like such a good, genuine person.
Yeah, she's the one that's like, she said she robbed a bank because she needed the money or something like that. Like it's like barely a villain. So I was blown away, RB3. I don't know about you, man. I just felt like I don't know. I just thought it was clever. I just thought I'm glad you saw it in theaters and you got that experience, man. How was that like watching it with the crowd in theaters with the deltas?
No, it was great seeing it with a crowd. What I don't think was good was seeing it how many kids was in this theater. It was really come on now. And I normally wouldn't say that.
When I first saw Deadpool, that was I saw so many kids in there. I was like, why?
Yeah.
It was so uncomfortable.
But I think
why? I don't think is it that inappropriate?
For Deadpool, no.
For children?
For Deadpool,
I say Deadpool, yes.
For
This
Deadpool?
one, no.
Deadpool, no. I would say this one. I think
Deadpool,
this
yes.
one's tougher. I think this one's tougher than Deadpool. Y'all don't think this one's tougher than Deadpool?
I think Deadpool's a little worse for kids than this one.
Deadpool's way worse.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I was like watching like Saw when I was like 9. I don't know. Like,
I mean, there's a part
you're
where
exposed to so much on the internet.
I mean, there's a part where Rick Flag literally gets stabbed in the heart. Like, I don't know. That was pretty graphic.
You could see that like in a video game nowadays.
I know,
didn't think that was that graphic.
Well, I mean, but I'm saying these weren't just like 10-year-old kids. These are literally like 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old kids. Like, I'm saying like little kids. Like in
that's
this
a little
age.
much.
Parents
Yeah.
are weird, man.
But it was interesting. I personally, maybe I think it was like tougher than Deadpool personally, because I also think the themes are a little like more prevalent. Like I think like for one, like it starts with a shot of him killing a bird, and then it goes to that shot of the bird like eating his flesh again. I think that I mean James Gunn's a real cynical, sick dude. Like you could clearly tell that from his like filmography. Like outside of Guardians, like if you watch Super or if you watch any of his other movies, even the one he produced, that was the one where they're all locked in the building.
Belko Experiment?
The Belko Experiment. Yeah, that's a sick movie,
Yeah,
man. It's
that's
twisted.
messed up.
Twisted. Yeah, whatever's up with that dude, we gotta see what's up with him. But it's, you see that. And I think, to me, there was just a lot of like really twisted elements that I was just like, whoa, they're going like really dark here. But I also think like, when it comes to like the themes kind of leave me a little like in the middle. Personally, that's kind of like, I like it a lot. I probably don't love it probably as much as you two. I watched it fully in theaters, and then I went back and saw most of it on HBO Max, and then went back and saw certain scenes, because there's certain scenes I like really, really love. Like, I love the scene where Harley Quinn has that romantic thing with dude, and then she just shoots him as soon as he says like he's ready to kill children. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. That's perfect storytelling right there. And then there's other scenes I like really went back and watched, but I think to me, like, it wants to be anti like military coup, while also, it wants to have its cake and eat it too. And like at the end, they still do end up having like, America still ends up having like their quote unquote victory. Like there's the thing doesn't end up going out to the press about Starro. The president and all of his generals still end up getting killed. So things still kind of end up working in America's way. They just kind of like pay a little more lip service towards the anti takeover stuff. And then also that was just one thing that held me back. Another thing that was like I don't know. Never mind. I'll get back to that in a second, but I'll probably say that in the meaning of episode that we're gonna do. So
yeah, I'm kind of like towing that line, because I genuinely loved a lot of like so many of these characters. I got attached to them from even just like being on screen a little bit, and I do understand like RB3 kind of like your criticism on like the themes and how well they did with that one. I kind of feel the same way, but at the end of the day with that, it didn't bother me as much, because at least it, I know it's like dumb to say, but at least it did a little bit more than I think like most films are able to capture. And in like a superhero film, I found that to be like unique, like genuinely refreshing. And I think James Gunn was the right person to make this film in the first place, or now, or whatever it is. I wish this would have been like the first time we saw the Suicide Squad, because there were so many characters to introduce right from the start, and they all had a little bit of time to shine at least. And then it lived up to the name of the film. I thought the set pieces were amazing. I thought the direction was energetic. Even the use of music. James Gunn loves his use of music, but I thought it tonally fit with the film. It made sense. The second they started off with like Johnny Cash and like Folsom Prison Blues and stuff, I was just kind of hooked on it. And the same thing that you were talking about with Savant, when he kills the bird and then the bird is chipping away at his head. It's just, there's like just dark and grimy stuff, but that's kind of what I would suspect from, or expect from this kind of like ragtag team of villains that are hired to do some of the stuff that they did. Yeah, I thought it fit really well. The R rating did it justice.
Yeah, it's interesting when you think about, I don't know, maybe I thought of it in the moment, but I felt like there's certain ways to read certain things where you can read that whole scene as like a comedic scene, right? Dark comedy or dark humor. When the song, you're like, these guys are dead, it starts playing in the background and it's just pointing at their bodies and shit. But you could also read that as like, these people are expendable. What is life in the hands of like American operatives? Like the way that Amanda Waller was the one who set them all up to die. Even Flag, who's like her boy and her colonel, she didn't give a crap about him. When it came down to it, considering she set him up to get shot and murdered by the entire army. And also the deaths later on are all like very questionable, which is why I did feel like you're right. The message did get a little muddy for me as well, RB3, specifically with the way you can read tone. You could read tone in a sense of like, RB3 and I have talked about this a lot, where how do you read violent scenes? Do you read it as like, is this saying violence is bad, or is this saying, yo, look how cool violence is? And it's always like a fine line, because you can definitely see the latter, especially in that scene where they go into the camp and they're all like, cool, look how cool we can kill. And I was like,
yeah, I didn't need that.
Is this a good scene?
I didn't need that.
I don't know if this is a good scene.
Yeah.
But it's funny, and then at the end, I'm just like, but it's also kind of a commentary on how U.S. does treat its allies. It's like you can have different readings on it. It's like, oh, it's just a cool killing scene. And I could also have readings on like, this is how the U.S. doesn't give a shit about any of its allies in other countries and just kind of leaves them hanging, which is literally happening now in Afghanistan, if you know anything about that. But it's one of those things where there is different interpretations and readings, even though it is shot in a cool way and it's gory and it's crazy and it's over the top and the cool characters like Bloodsport and Peacemaker are like doing quick one-liners. It's interesting. I just felt like that one scene was very muddy. I was like, oh, this is kind of muddy. I guess I get your point, but it's still it's a little too cool for me and a little too casual.
That's one of the parts that didn't sit well with me is when they killed like all those innocent people. Because afterwards, like even with like how funny parts like in the moment, that I guess it's kind of like that like ultra violence, you know, like there's a lot of those films that have that because we literally have Harley killing a guy. Like he's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill kids. She shoots him. It's like violent and gruesome. Because he says all that stuff and she's like killing kids, like that's a little too far, but she has no issue with shooting him. So like sometimes like that kind of stuff like works really well. But yeah, in that one situation, I get all those different angles. I still found that one scene to be just like a little bit like, for a second, I turned to Brandon and I was like, I don't know how I feel about that necessarily.
Yeah, I think if that scene would have paid off with them killing a bunch of evil dudes, I might have laughed. And then it came in with them actually killing like the team, and then Homegirl's just gonna be cool with them, like roll with them for the rest of the way. Like I don't know, I didn't get that. That was the one part I was like, yo, this is that's a little weird. But otherwise, I
do love Viola Davis in both movies, but especially in this one, I think it just like worked really well. She's such a goddamn good villain because that's why I didn't mind that badly with the whole like, oh, like the world's gonna end, like this big like starfish type of situation. I didn't mind that as much because at the end of the day, she was literally the villain the entire time. Like you said, sending someone like Rick Flag who is like on her team and stuff like that. It just shows how much she has little care for anybody. And that's very, very real. And we're seeing that and it's evil and it's disgusting to look at. And she's very like trigger happy with kind of like everything. The little neck bombs. But yeah, all this different stuff. Like she's like, yeah, just let all these people die. Like go, your mission's over.
Yeah, I definitely feel like she, you know, is the villain and she's definitely very gung-ho with the murder. But I also do feel like a lot of people need to realize, like RB3, you know, there is such thing as like satire and satirical comedy and satirical humor when it comes to certain moments and certain things in movies. It's been done before. I can't name a specific movie now, but I'm sure there's been plenty of movies that do kind of like over-the-top crazy shit to kind of point something out.
Natural Born Killers.
Yeah, exactly. That's one. And then there's movies in the past too that have done that too. Like movies in the 70s and the 80s who did that, that wanted to point out kind of the errors of certain things, but at the same time still did it in very, you know, cinematic, crazy ways. So that's not necessarily a negative reading on my part. But I can't lie, man. I really did feel the characters. I felt the humor. I thought the humor worked. I loved all the nicknames they gave each other. All the nicknames. John Cena was like, yo, Ratatouille, Ratatouille. He just kept saying, I just kept laughing at it. And King Shark.
Polka Dot Man.
Polka Dot Man was
so
cool,
good.
Man. He was a tragic figure for sure. Which is why, you know, he went out like a G. I think everyone kind of went out like a G.
He did not go out like a G, though.
Are you kidding me?
Like,
he took out the leg of some.
I'm a superhero and then gets smushed after
That's
this
a G
whole
move,
time.
bro.
It is, but at the same time, it was just so sad because he's just like talking about like his childhood trauma, which it is genuinely, it worked so well because they made it like visually like very funny by making everybody like his mom. But at the same time, it's very like real and all of that.
Dark.
So
it's very dark.
It's very, very dark.
Yeah, it's pitch black.
So I was so sad. It was so abrupt.
I still think he went out like a G.
He did.
I knew that. You saw that coming though, right?
What was that guy's name? Oh my God, this Milton as well.
Oh, Milton.
R.I.P.
Milton.
I didn't like that. I was like, oh, Milton. I was with Polka Dot Man. Like, y'all really didn't notice this dude the whole time?
I was mad. I was like, what the hell, bro? Like, he's literally.
I literally kept laughing because I kept seeing him like running behind everybody. And I'm like, why is the driver still there? It would have been so good.
I literally pointed that out too.
Yeah. It would have been so good if he made it out at the end for some reason, like whatever it was. I felt so bad for Milton.
Yeah,
that was a dark.
It's so dark.
Yeah,
but he is the person. Like, why is he putting himself in that situation?
He's still he's dope though. He's dope. He gave his life
He's
in the
still
right
dope,
way. But I still feel like his.
It's just like they'd all be like running up the steps, and you see him behind everybody. Just
Yeah,
like
he's like
laughing at
opening
that.
doors for people. Like he's literally doing it all. Like he was placing the bomb. Do you see him placing the bomb at one point?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, did they just forget to introduce his character? Is he gonna do something cool? Like, oh shoot.
No, I loved it. I definitely noticed it. Sure, and I kept saying to myself, I was like, why is he here? He's not cut out. Like you can't do this, bro.
Milton,
but
go home.
Yeah, it definitely worked out.
Just trying to
for
save
sure.
the world.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there is muddiness to it, and there's definitely debatable scenes when it comes to that type of stuff. But overall, I just enjoyed the shit out of it. The humor worked for me. I died laughing so hard. The scene that probably got me the most, laughing-wise, and it's not even like supposed to be that humorous, but was the freaking Idris Elba falling down like an elevator. Super chat. Sorry, I don't want to.
Oh no! Somebody just put abolish guns. Donated $3. So thank you, abolish guns. Thank you.
I just laughed so hard. And you know what scene I'm talking about, right? Where he's going down and he keeps going. And I'm just like, what is happening? This is ridiculous. Like I kept literally saying, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And then when he lands and he's like, dun, dun, dun.
Perfect.
And he looks up at John Cena. I was like, oh my God. That is the funniest super game, like video game shit. I laughed so hard.
I love that element that James Gunn did with the mixing up of times. Like it wasn't always simultaneous. Cool. It was a good way of like showing you what was happening then 8 minutes earlier, and then it gives you like I think in a less creative movie that would have just been done side by side the whole time. But in this, like, and again, that's a very if I'm not mistaken, I think that was a technique that they used in Inglourious Basterds, or if not in Inglourious Basterds, they probably used it in one of those like old war movies, like Bridge on the River Kwai or something like that. Like they used it in like a lot of those older war movies to like highlight what was happening during this time. I like that. I love that. That's such a good like creative element to use. Like,
yeah. All right, guys. Let's wrap it up with let's do our MVP. Who's our MVP character in the movie? Sabrina.
Of course, I'm going to say Ratcatcher 2, with an honorable
unanimous
mention to Harley and also King Shark.
Yeah.
And Polka Dot Man.
That's a lot. That's a lot of MVPs, bro.
Yeah.
I think they were all good.
I'll name like one or two. I'll do Ratcatcher 2 for sure. She's like definitely up there. But low key on the low, you guys are gonna scoff at me. On the low. Can we give a shout out to Flula?
Or who's Flula?
With the javelin,
Flula Borg.
javelin man.
Oh, javelin! That javelin was good though. That was a cool.
It was a dope javelin. I was like, bro, he gave his javelin to Harley because he knew Harley could handle it, and she handled it, bro. And it
The javelin had more character than he did. The javelin was a character in itself. He lived on. His legacy went on, especially when it went straight through like the eye. And she went in. Yeah, that was dope.
That's Javelin.
Yeah,
like R.I.P. That's what I said when I was watching. I was like, R.I.P. Javelin. He came in. He came in clutch. Like his spirit was in that Javelin. RB3, how about you?
I mean, obviously, you already said Ratcatcher. Adam, by the way, I'm too like Idris Elba. I don't really like Rat. So.
Oh, me neither. I don't think anyone does.
I think.
But even.
I think it just disturbed me a little bit. It disturbed me a little bit. But I did like I did like that scene when they all crawled into the eye and started mauling. Yeah. But probably my MVP. I also got to see Bloodsport, man. Or was that his name? Bloodsport? Yeah. He was dope, man. He was dope. And then I like that little antagonistic thing he always had with old boy Peacemaker. It's like when a good leader like can just sense like there's something wrong with somebody. Like I feel like he knew from the very beginning, oh, something wrong with you. So I thought that was dope too. So
also Rick Flag was actually really good in this. In the last movie, I literally could not have cared less about him. I actually thought he was going to be one of the characters that they threw away for this one, and he was so damn good. So it just shows with like proper writing, proper filmmaking.
That dance scene, your first initial thoughts when they're going in a club and they're dancing, it's like, what is this for? And then I just kind of relaxed and I was like, this is a great scene because we're actually getting to see them relax, and you see Flag being a cool dude and chilling out. Like it was dope. I really enjoyed that.
And I think what was dope is that they did a really good job of developing the friendship between Peacemaker and Rick Flag, and then at the same time they give you like the antagonism between Bloodsport and Peacemaker. So you think they're gonna be the big boss fight at the end. So when Rick Flag and Peacemaker start fighting, it kind of like really like takes you away. And I was like, dog, please, Rick Flag, please make it out of this. Like I was literally like crying, like please do it. But you know, you just couldn't. It was tough. That was a good fight too. That was a really good fight.
Oh, that was a dope. I literally said in the middle of the fight, like obviously because I'm by myself, I was like, yo, this is a dope fight. Like it's really well choreographed, the practical effects, the way the production design came in, they kept grabbing stuff and like hitting each other. I love that shit when you're like in the middle of an environment and just like smashing, smash. Like I was like, bro, these guys are going in. I loved it. Yeah, that was great. And obviously the biggest clutch cameo of all time, Taika Waititi playing Ratcatcher 1 and his dad. Low key, that hit me in the feels. I was on Donda. I heard the choir. I felt it, bro. I felt it. I really did. I really did.
Nice moment.
I thought that was
I loved
really
it when he said when he was like, they're the loneliest and most like hated creatures. If people can like love them, then that was
so precious, bro.
It was so cheesy, dog. It was.
I
so
cried
cheesy.
my eyes out. I cried my eyes out. I cried. What's wrong with crying, bro?
No. I cry all the time. I just didn't know you would cry. That's amazing.
This ain't Ratatouille. This ain't Pixar, man. Come on, no, this ain't.
I don't even cry in Pixar, fam. I don't cry. Like I don't cry in movies, but this one made me cry. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I was like in an emotional state. After listening to Kanye.
Down there will get you ready to get some tears out.
But I felt like it was just such a good little message as far as like, what we think of nature, what we repurpose creatures for, what creatures can represent about us and humanity, and how even Starro at the end kind of put the button at the end of it when he was like, you guys fucked me up, not. And it's the same as rats. Like rats are fucked up, obviously, but they're fucked up creatures because humans are fucked up as well. And it's one of those things where it's like, fuck, bro, it got me. It just got me in a way that I just never expected it to get me. Kind of like Guardians got me too, though, because Guardians had a similar effect to me where I was like, I'm watching a superhero movie that's cheesy and quirky, but it's still like, we are Groot type shit. And I'm just like, bro, James Gunn, I want to hate you.
King Shark too.
King Shark was
I was so damn emotional when he's like in the little aquarium because he had been left out of so many things. Obviously, he can't blend in. But when he was in that like little like aquarium part and he sees like all the fishes and he's running around and they're chasing him and he's having fun, and his relationship with Ratcatcher 2 of her like hugging him when he tries to eat her when she's sleeping. I loved it. Ratcatcher is doing everything for all the tired,
so much heart.
Tired gross girls. Thank you, Ratcatcher.
Yeah, and she has like so much heart. Like she believes in like empathy. She's like, well, let's think about his perspective. He's just this weird giant ass shark. Just like, let's give him a chance. Like the way she says that is just like, I felt it.
I can't,
damn, girl.
Yo,
damn.
We have to get all the rat catchers off of these dating profiles immediately because I'm telling y'all, they are out there and they're prevalent and it's really making things tough for me right now.
What is that?
Anyway,
the sleepy gross girls.
Yeah.
That's me right now because I'm sick. I'm just like sleepy and gross. Like that's it.
Heroes Reforged in the chat. Shout out to Heroes Reforged. Who's gonna have the hottest take? I guess technically I do because I guess I like this probably the least out of us, but
I think I do, but I don't know. That's just me.
It's not a hot take.
I feel most people.
I think you
most
guys
people
are
were
all
like, yeah, it was fun, and that was it. And I was just
no.
like,
People are. It has like a 91%. I know we.
Yeah, but you just laughed at me for crying.
Oh, I laughed at you for crying because I thought that's funny because it's a very brief, like short scene, and in this movie, it is funny. Like I love it. I'm so happy that you were that emotionally affected by the scene.
Animals in nature, and I've always had.
And Taika did a good delivery too.
And Taika did a good delivery, and the score was good. And I was just like, I don't know, man. Like you really do get existential and shit when you start freaking going through some shit. And I've been going through some shit,
pandemic,
so it hit me.
There's
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's pandemic, COVID, family. Just said goodbye to them last week.
Start thinking rats and sharks are friends.
Rats. Sebastian doing his thing, bro. Sebastian came in clutch.
I wish we saw more of Weasel. was my only thing. It was really funny, but I loved Weasel in the trailers. And the second like he drowned, I was just like, damn, we're not gonna see
Weasel
any
was another
more of her.
example though. Weasel was another one where I really did feel like it was funny as fuck, but it was like one of those things where like when Pete Davidson was like, "What the fuck is this, a werewolf?"
No, he said
and he's
dog
like-
at first.
No, but when he said werewolf, and then
Start jumping out the seat.
Rick Flag comes in and he's like, "No, it's a weasel. He's chill. He's cool. I mean, he's not that cool. He ate a bunch of children, but you know, he wants to be here. He consented, I think." And Weasel's like, "Wah, wah."
Just absolutely
He's all
ridiculous.
like-
And like the post credit scene is Weasel getting up and running into the woods.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
where
I just
Are we gonna
think
see
it was
more
a
of
fun-
Weasel?
I just think it was like a fun.
I wanna see
little-
more
Be in a
Weasel.
Peacemaker
A
series.
fun
for
little
sure.
thing or something.
Peacemaker series.
But I felt like that was another example though, because it's like this weird like abomination of nature. That kind of sums up the themes of the movie as well, with Starro and with the rats and all this shit about nature and humanity and how we perverse it. I loved it. I thought it was another example of that. And also him drowning was morbid, like really morbid, but also kind of funny. Just the sounds he makes. He sounds like Yoshi, like straight up Yoshi. I thought that was hysterical. Shout out
Dude,
to my
when
boy
Captain
Yoshi.
Boomerang died, I was like, oh, freak. Like, come on.
Boomerang's.
It was like, I hated this guy the entire first movie. He got me for 5 minutes in this, so I'm like, all right, I'm a fan. And then he dies in the very next second. Like, the very next second.
I don't know if we talked about it, because in 2016 I literally said my favorite character of the Suicide Squad is Captain Boomerang. Back in the 2016 version, I just thought it was just, out of the 2016 version, who else? Come on,
Harley
the
Quinn.
Joker.
They did her. Absolutely
Enchantress.
not. I rewatched half of the 2016 Suicide Squad today. Jared Leto, who let him do any of this?
Boomerang's
Who
way
let
better.
him do any of that?
Boomer. So when he died, I actually did feel it, and I'm glad that Harley feel it, and it wasn't kind of like made for laughs where she's like laughing or something. Like she felt it. She literally yelled out like "Boomer!" Like she felt it.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. He went out like a G. Like he straight up like he was just like deuces, and the helicopter hits him and like all the spikes. I was like, at least he went out like a G, and he took down like 3 dudes too.
Yeah, he was the only
compared
one
to
that
like
took
everyone
dudes out.
else.
Yeah,
because he's Boomerang. He's a badass. I love Boomerang. Shout out to Boomerang. R.I.P. to the GOAT. And I think that's it, bro. I don't know if anything else you guys want to get to, because I do know that we're doing something afterwards.
Now we're going to have
Yeah, we got to go.
Heroes Referred says Boomer was also one of my favorites. So sad he got axed. See, there you go, bro.
Yeah.
See, everyone loves
R.I.P. Boomer.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi.
Oi, oi, oi.
Back, let's get the shit
the
on
way-
the Bobby.
Yeah, exactly. Sabrina, where can everyone find you?
You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Sabrina on Film. Also on Twitter and Instagram, Sabrina X Monica. Also on Twitter at Sabrina on Film. Antibiotics and pain meds. Love the
There you
combo.
go. RB3.
Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Director RB3 and stay on lock. There could be some announcements coming up soon. Let's get it. Timestamp.
That is timestamp. There you go. I'm at Squad Leader Race, guys. Make sure you follow me and follow us at First Cut TMO. Also subscribe if you haven't done so already for the First Cut crew. Peace you out. Peace.
This ain't funny, so don't you dare laugh. With the 4/5 divide you in half. You getting at me equals a club half. You do the math, take you out the equation. This ain't funny, so don't you dare laugh.
It's Britney, bitch.